Today I'm going to be talking about autism is not a downfall. So I don't really have an intro. He's my intro, okay? So I'm going to ask him a couple questions, so don't time me yet. Hold up. It might take a minute. So we're going to ask him a couple questions, and then after that is a speech, you guys, okay? All right, so Thomas, do you know what autism is?
It's autism is a person who has disability problems, and yeah, it's a person who has disability problems.
Okay. Do you think you are autistic?
Probably yes.
Why?
Well, because I've been upset a couple of times, and I've only listened to one person. I only listened to.
Okay. Do you think all autistic people are just like you?
Well, not all, but there's some people who have disability problems, just only like some people.
Okay. Do you think being autistic makes your life easy or difficult?
Well, I would say it's probably difficult for that, because it's like hard, you had to, yes, I guess it's definitely difficult.
Why do you think it's difficult?
The reason why is that people have trouble with their lives, and they need to get things back on track, doing something.
Okay. If there was one thing that you could change about your autism, what would it be? Got you there. He didn't know these questions, you guys, just to warn you. So he's pretty good right now.
One thing that changed. Well, I guess the reason there's one thing I would change is I would trust on others instead of myself. I would help with others if they need any.
Okay. Well, you can have a seat. Thank you, Thomas. So, autism, the specific definition, is a group of complex neurodevelopment disorders characterized by repetitive and characteristic patterns of behavior and difficulties with social communication and interaction. It's also known as mind blindness, okay? Autism is divided into 3 groups, and it's called a spectrum. You have mild, moderate, and severe, okay? Thomas, when he was younger, he was severe. So, you know, like what most people think autistic people are, that's what he used to be. And we never put him on meds, we never did that, we just, you know, went in public and took the tantrums. And, you know, over time, he learned, you know, school, socialization, even though it was embarrassing sometimes, like, he learned. And that was the most important part. So he went from being severe until he was about 3 or 4. He went to being moderate when he was about 11, 12, and now he's mild. He's 18, gonna be 19 in December, okay? When you are mild, that's about 40% have average to about, like, average intellectual abilities. So, some famous people you guys might know is Mozart, Owl City. Will not believe your eyes, butterflies. Okay. Tim Burton, he made like Edward Scissorhands, you know, The Nightmare Before Christmas. They all had autism, and nobody knew it. I mean, they were diagnosed at a young age. And you can tell by a person being autistic by certain behaviors, like sometimes they'll put their hands to their ears because they don't want to hear what you're saying, or they'll push you away, they'll get really, really, really physical, but they're not trying to hurt you. That's just how they're telling you, like, leave me alone. I want my alone time, you know? And, you know, what's your favorite thing to do, Thomas?
I guess I'll go for reading, maybe.
Read what?
Books. Just some Japanese books and some like old classics like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, or Treasure Island, Three Musketeers, all classics.
And if you're not reading, what do you do?
Sometimes when I'm not reading, I kind of meditate and concentrate.
That's when he gets really pissed off. He blocks you out, and he does his thing. Okay. So that's a form of autism. Temple Grandin, she's an author. There was a movie about her actually because she invented how cows would get slaughtered, so that way when the cows would get slaughtered, the livestock, they wouldn't be in distress because they knew what was going on. Like they knew something bad was going to happen. So she made a whole routine of how they would go like down a ramp into water, and they would get slaughtered, but they wouldn't know it, and they were calm the whole time. So their meat tasted differently and everything. And she's autistic herself. She's written books. She's like the phenomenon. Okay, she's like the head honcho. She's the god of autism. Okay, exactly. Moderate people, sometimes they would refer to it as Asperger's syndrome. 25% of individuals with ASD are nonverbal but can learn to communicate using other means. So some famous people would be like Daryl Hannah, Albert Einstein, the creator of Pokemon, and his name is Satoshi Tajiri. And he created Pokemon this isn't in my paper, but he created Pokemon because his two friends were playing games, and you know how the Nintendos back then had like a little cord? He imagined a bug going across them, and that's how Pokemon came along. So with autism, a lot of people just assume that it's a downfall when it's not. If we didn't have Mr. Tahiri, I would not be watching Pokemon last night. So it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Don't you think so? Mm-hmm. All right. And the very last one is severe, also known as cancer autism. A person with few words of intellectual speech who rarely initiates interaction, and when she makes unusual approaches to meet needs only in response to only very direct social approaches. Now, when Thomas was little, I was the one who could communicate with him. My mother, nobody else knew him but me. So if he looked at me and they were trying to feed him something, I tell him, well, he's gonna bite you. Or he doesn't like that. Or he eats this. He doesn't like that. That's too loud. This is too noisy. This is too hard. And I was his speech. I was his vocalist. But we communicated like that. That's just how we grew up. And that's how he learned to speak. Like, you know, I used to change his diapers, and then, you know, I potty trained him. Like, I did a lot of the work too. So I was a second mom in the process. But with severe autism, there aren't famous people with severe autism because they're ignored. Most people that have severe autism are locked up in a cage, or they're locked up in their rooms, or they're in a hospital too, because nobody wants to deal with them because it's that bad. And Thomas used to be severe, and we just took the hits. We just took the tantrums, and he knows how to read, write. He got his permit. Like, he knows how to do stuff. And trust me, he didn't study for his permit. He tried, but he didn't. We both know he didn't study. And he got a better grade than me. So that tells you that even though he has autism, like, that doesn't mean he can't have a productive life. He can't have marriage. He can't have children. He can't go to college. He can't be something with his life, you know? So to conclude my essay, I'm going to say that autism statistics from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, aka CDC, identify one in 60 American children as on the autism spectrum, a tenfold increase in prevalence in 40 years. So it's been going up 11 to 12% every year, mostly in boys. Intensive early intervention and diagnosis continue to be primary factors in fostering appropriate behaviors and communication. So with that being said, since there is no real cure for autism, people constantly learn to live with a disability. People should be constantly aware that autism is not a downfall due to the fact that much of the world today is discovered and recreated with a person who has autism. Do you still consider autism a downfall? That's it, you guys.
All right. And thank you. I do want to ask one thing. Would you consider yourself Asperger's?
What now?
Are you considered Asperger's,
So that's
autism?
Oh,
Would you consider yourself mild, moderate, or severe?
well, for those three choices, I would have to say I'm probably like kind of moderate, like a little bit in the middle.
Okay, because Asperger's, when people have Asperger's syndrome, they tend to be extremely intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
They have a really great talent. Like, for instance, they may be able to play classical music
Yeah.
and not understand why they can play classical music, but they can do Beethoven better than some of the people that are trained for many years.
True.
So that's why I was wondering. Well, thank you so much for doing it. And you're a handsome young man and you look very dapper.
If you guys want to ask him anything, you can, like, he doesn't.
It's true.
I have a question. What do you want to do? I heard you just got your permit. Like, what do you have something you want to like do? Like explore, like painting or like music?
What do you want to be?
Me? Well, my dream is one day to be like a chef master or something. And not just that, but I also want to learn like martial arts to get into track, all that stuff.
That's very cool.
And that's probably it.
That's really cool.
Anyone else?
This is not really a question, it's just something to say. I think, I don't believe autism is a disability either. I'm actually super fascinated with autism because I think it's a way you have, I'm going to phrase this the right way. Autistic people that I know, because I have friends who are also
People with
autistic.
autism.
People with autism, thank you. They're themselves, and like the world has to cater to them being themselves, but the thing is we should all be that way. So I think it's a cool way to just 100% be yourself without somebody telling you this is how you live your life, because you make your own life. So
The
that's
problem with autism, it's not like Down syndrome. Down syndrome, everybody knows. You can tell when a person has Down syndrome. They have the same characteristics in the face. You know, they act almost around the same type of benefit, well, not benefits, but downfalls. But with autism, it's so broad. You know, I was watching a couple videos last night, and you know, you can never know what's the right type of medicine for somebody. So we could put Thomas on like 10 different pills and still not get him to calm down. And that's the problem with autism. There's people don't even know why autism happens. Like right now, they're getting more research and they're saying that, you know, it's pollution. It's just basically humans destroying the earth. That's why autism is here. And it's basically like pollution, just, you know, like all the preservatives and everything bad that's in our foods, like stress, just so many normal factors that are put to the extremes on people. That's why, for the most part, sometimes autism occurs. And people, like when autism happens, they don't know when he's going to be autistic. It doesn't show up until he's about 2 or 3. But now they're doing studies where, like, if you're pregnant and there's a way to find out if your child is autistic just because of like certain DNA things and like certain clicks and stuff. And some people do terminate their children, but my mom didn't know he was going to be autistic. And my mom realized he was autistic when he was like 1 or 2 because he wouldn't speak. Tom didn't start talking until he was 5 or 6. By then you're supposed to be in 1st grade, and he was still in diapers at that point. So he didn't get out of diapers until he was maybe like in the 3rd grade. So everything for him is just a step back or 2 steps back instead